Alrighty. Well, I got cut off there. I never finished what I was saying. Anyway, the bottom line is, if I go along with things that I sincerely believe are evil and are part of an evil agenda, if I go along with that because I want to be liked, or because I don't want to be punished, or because I want to be comfortable, or because I want security, or because I don't want to offend somebody, even somebody I respect, even somebody who I consider a friend, and so on like that. If I go along with those things, even if those other people like me for doing that, I'm not going to like me. And earlier in the first video that I made, which, like I said, I ran out of time on the phone, so it just kind of ended abruptly. I recounted how I had been tortured for 2 days by correctional officers who wanted me to bear false witness against my own father. When I was 15 years old, this happened in the summer of 1983. Now, I guarantee you, there's nobody listening to this who knows the hell that I was put through for those 2 days. And there's nobody who knows how frightened I was and how much I was hurting. You can't know how bad it was. It was bad. But here's the thing. I suffered that for 2 days, and I prevailed. I didn't have to do that. I didn't have to participate in something I was thoroughly convinced was wrong and that I knew was wrong. And bearing false witness against anyone is wrong. You can't lie about other people and destroy other people's lives with lies. That's wrong. My dad, he had enough pain. He didn't need his son to turn against him and to lie about him. He had enough on his plate. The man was trying to kill himself. He didn't want to be here anymore. He was hurting that bad. Imagine if his own son had turned around and betrayed him that way, and told dirty, filthy lies about him, and accused him of doing the thing to me that had been done to him when he was a little boy by two priests in the summer of 1949. They got him twice. The first priest was a priest by the name of Father Lesage, and he was the parish priest at Stanleyville, Ontario, and it was the worst kept secret in this area what he was. He had molested so many little boys, and it was whispered about, but it was never talked about. Swept under the rug. That's how it was in the old days, with stuff like that. One fella who was a friend of my dad's in school and had also been molested by that same priest, by Father Lesage, he ended up drowning himself in Lake Ontario in 1974. My dad had tried to take his own life many times. My dad's first suicide attempt occurred when my dad was 17 years old. 17 years old, and he tried to take his own life. Because of what was done to him. Father Lesage got him the first time, and a week or two later, Father Lesage and a friend of Father Lesage's ganged up on him, and they both got him. And I'm not going to get into graphic details. I was told what happened to him. Suffice it to say, my father was raped and he was degraded by those men. He was 12 years old. Now imagine if his own son turned around and falsely accused him of doing that sort of thing. And this is all to punish him because he made a vulgar, disgusting comment to a psychologist in order to get her to leave him alone. I'm not saying that it was right that he did that. I understand why he did it. He didn't want to talk to her, and she wouldn't leave him alone, I know why he did it. I'm not saying that he was right to do it, but I know why he did it. I understand why he did it. I don't think he deserved that. They're going to punish him. If you want to punish him, but don't punish him with that. Of all the things you could do to the man, don't do that to him. Anyway, I honestly believed I wasn't leaving that room alive. I fully expected to die in that room, and I was told that I would. I was told that there were two options. This was going to end one of two ways. Either I was going to get with the program and tell them what they wanted to hear, or I was going to be carried out of there on a board, dead. Those were my choices. There was no third option. That's how it was put to me. And I had no reason not to believe those people. I knew what they could do, and I knew they'd get away with whatever they did too. I knew there was no scrutiny there, there was no oversight. They could do whatever they wanted to us, and they had proven that over and over again. I saw things in that place that I still can't talk about because I fall apart. And the stuff I do talk about, there's times I try and tell people different things that happened and they can't handle hearing about it. It upsets them too much, and they'll say, please don't talk about that. I can't stand it. I can't hear about that. And, this is stuff that I lived. This is stuff that I witnessed and that I experienced and so on. So I knew who I was dealing with there, But the thing is, I prevailed in that situation, and 40 years later, I'm here now telling you about it. I'm telling you about it using technology we couldn't even imagine back then. This phone I'm holding in my hand right now, this was like Star Trek stuff. This was science fiction. This was like Gene Roddenberry or something that he would write about, This was not, in 1983, that was still the case. Your telephone was a black box that was bolted to the wall of your house. It was in your kitchen, usually. You had a receiver that hung on a chrome hook. Usually it hung over your kitchen table. That was your telephone. I mean, computer, that was something that they had in a big office building in Toronto. The government had computers, these big mainframe computers, that took an entire office building up and stuff. And they couldn't do as much as what I can do on my little phone I'm holding in my hand now. They didn't have as much computing power as this little phone I have does. That's how different the world was. I've seen all those changes in my lifetime. Since the day I was told I was going to be carried out of there on a fucking board. Dead. If I didn't go with the program. And I've seen all those changes. I wasn't supposed to see any of that. I was supposed to be in the ground. I was supposed to be rotting in the ground for 40 years. But here I am, so there you go. So what I learned is, you do survive. These people, they'll use fear and intimidation, and they'll punish you in a variety of ways, and they'll make things miserable for you. But if you maintain your integrity, you'll survive. And if you don't survive, and maybe the day will come when I won't, you'll die on your feet with integrity like a man should. Not cowering in a corner, begging for mercy from people who aren't even worthy. They're not worthy to lick the sweat off a dog's balls, these people, on a hot day. If they were dying of thirst, they literally wouldn't be worthy of being allowed to take the sweat off a dog's nutsack to keep them alive. They wouldn't even be worthy of that, those people. And I know that sounds horrible and cruel and everything else, but it's the truth. And so, like I say, for me, because I feel that way, and I know I may offend some people by talking like I'm talking right now, but that is really how I feel about the people in this world, the authority figures that are pushing all this junk on us. I just can't go along. I can't. and I feel like I wouldn't be a man, and I'd be sacrificing my integrity if I went along, and I'm not going to do that. And so, yeah, like, I had a correctional officer, a friend of mine who was a correctional officer at Burrits Rapids Jail, which has been torn down now too, actually, but years ago. And I stopped at his place to visit him one time, and the OPP were giving me a hard time. They were really harassing me. And he told me, he said, they're looking to break you. And he said, I know that because I know them, and I've talked to them, and your name comes up. And they're looking to break you. And I told him, I said, well, they might kill me, but they won't break me. Because I said, I don't have any say about it. If they kill me, they can do that. I have no say over that. But they can't break anyone without that person's consent. And I do not give my consent to be broken. And so they're not going to do that. I said, whether they beat me up or lock me up or kill me, I said, I have no say over that. They'll do whatever they'll do. But they can't break me if I don't allow it. And I'm not going to allow it. Anyway, that's just how I've always been. And so yeah, as far as I'm concerned, pardon me, I've got a frog in my throat here. The thing is, I would like to be liked. Everybody wants to be liked. But ultimately, if not liking myself is the price I have to pay to be liked by others, then I'll have to be content not to be liked. That's all. And the way I look at it is, if you're true to yourself, and you like yourself because you're true to yourself, and that doesn't mean in an arrogant or a narcissistic way. That doesn't mean you like yourself in the sense that you think that you're great, and you think that you can't be wrong, and so on like that. That's not it at all. I can be wrong, and I probably am wrong about some things, but I'm sincere. If I take a stand, I take a stand based on sincerity. And so, that's the reason that I can say that I like myself. I don't like myself because I'm infallible, because I'm not. I make mistakes all the time. I get things wrong all the time. But I at least sincerely believe in what I do and in the stands I take. And, like I say, it'd be nice to be liked by everybody, but the price for that is often too high. As much as you pay for not being liked in different ways in terms of your physical comfort and your security and so on, you pay a heavy price within yourself if you don't like yourself, even if other people think you're great. So that's the bottom line. You got to like yourself first, and then as far as that goes, other people will like